This thought kind of been lingering in my head for about a couple weeks. Just based on just religion itself, and what is religion, and I guess my perspective or my view on what I think religion is. I'm just gonna read the definition of religion based on what you're saying right here from the dictionary of Merriam and Webster. The belief in a God or in a group of gods, an organized system of beliefs, ceremonies, and rules used to worship a god or a group of gods, informal, an interest, a belief, or an activity that is very important to a person or group. When they first came out with religion, I believe it was for a good situation to help those to get intact, more so with on the spiritual side to try to get to that level. Because how I see it, I think you have people, you have about two. Well, as far as I see it, you have people who already are spiritual in this world, which is a small percentage. And after them, you have people who are more so religious people, or I don't really want to say it this way, but you have people who are more like uh, non-independent thinkers, and they don't necessarily know how to get to that particular level as far as being on a more spiritual path, regardless if it's the left or right, or the wicked or the righteous way. But some people, like when they created religion, it had to be somebody who was more so of a spiritual person, or maybe a spiritual group of people who created this religion to try to get people who wasn't intact with their spirit or their inner self. It was a way to just keep them on a course of having to continuously rehearse or repeat. When they go to church, they have to keep getting it driven into them, a religion to try to keep them on the spiritual plane. Because most people will, you see it today, most people will go to church to quote unquote relieve all of their sins, and they will leave the church after they're done, and they would start doing the things that they've been doing, smoking cigarettes, heavily eating the wrong foods, going out, hoeing, doing all this extra stuff. And I'm that's just my perspective. I think people could just go to church because for the most part, they need to be kicked in the rear end continuously to be told, this is how it should be. This is how that should be. This is how you're supposed to act and all this stuff. And when you're dealing with like stuff like Christianity, and from what I've seen, from my experience, it's usually just two ways to go. And it's usually just heaven or hell depending on the situation, you know. But I don't know. It's so much to religion, as far as like you have a lot of people who have these religious wars, and they talk down on another person that's possibly of another religion, or somebody who's not religious at all. Because my perspective is I don't have to be necessarily quote unquote religious to get where I'm trying to head, as far as reach that new dimension, or reach the highs of myself, or to one day walk with the Most High or God, or however that is, however I'm trying to say it. I don't think I need to necessarily read or be into a book that hard, because for one, when you think about religion in a book, when you're talking about the Torah or the New and the Old Testament, or if you talk about the Quran, you know, to me, anything that's written in a book, it doesn't give necessarily the full expression of how the message is being said. And also, if somebody has to write it down, that lets me know that it was created by man. And if it was created by man, it also lets me know that it could not possibly hold the complete truth of the main message. A lot of us know that the Bible is a book that has been revised so many different times. Also, we know that, and I'm not talking about people who are religious. If you are religious and you doing things in the best way possible that you can do on a, righteous way or righteous path, I have no issues with that. But we know that this book has been revised so many times. And we also know that I forgot my thought. We also know that the Bible was once a book that was on the east. And when it was over there around like Africa, Ethiopia, whatever, in them areas over there, you had other books in the Bible. You had other books in the Bible. I always question, why did they take out the book of Enoch? Who took it out? Was it the Romans who are of Catholicism or Catholics? Did they take it out and bring that book over here to the Americas? Because it was something that they did not, that they wanted to hide. Because if you're taking out books and all that stuff, the entire truth of the book is gone already. So that's just a part that I kind of have issues with, and why I don't necessarily completely believe that the Bible is the only way or the Quran is the only way, to get to where we're all one day hoping to get. I don't believe that, because, they say Enoch was, he once walked with God, and he was of higher value than Jesus Christ. So it's kind of, it's just something that I tend to question a lot. I just think religion is based on, to me, it's based on what you decide to put in your head, your ideas, your beliefs, what you tend to believe in. And that becomes a part of your religious values within self. That's what I think it is. But a lot of people who aren't as independent of thinkers, if the ones that are not independent thinkers, have to have an outside source or outside person or outside, idea to tell them how they should be. And I kind of look at those individuals as someone who needs someone to lean on to feel good on the inside. I don't know. Religion is, I don't know. It just makes me think. I can't remember. Okay, I'm thinking 1611 as far as the King James Version. When it was, I think, made or written. But I'm trying to think, for the amount of people, like you think of all the people in the history of time, we don't even know that answer. But we will assume people were here for tens of thousands of years ago, hundreds of thousands of years ago, maybe even millions of years ago. These people did not have a book. These people did not have tools. They didn't have anything. They didn't even have clothes. They just had the nature that was around them. They had the sun in the sky. They had the water. You telling me these people who didn't know anything about a Bible, anything about a cross, anything about Jesus Christ, anything about Muhammad, anything about, any of that stuff. You telling me these people went to, you know, hell, so-called hell, just because they didn't know anything about a book? You know, because a book was not even made back then. You know, as far as I know, the people back then probably was more righteous than us, because they ain't got to deal with all this mess that's going on today. A lot of, like, we are heavily influenced by so many different things happening in this world that it's ridiculous. A lot of us don't know how to sit down and settle down and tap into our inner selves. A lot of us don't meditate. We don't give ourselves the chance to collect energy from the sun. We don't allow that message to get sent to us. Some of us, we sit up there and we dye our hair. We eat the wrong foods. So your body cannot work with nature, because you're doing everything possible to go against nature. So when you're doing those type of things, you can't possibly be a spiritual, because to be able to get those things in your brain on a spiritual level, you have to at least eat decent. You have to be outside with nature. You have to be able to have those things to allow your brain and your heart to to be critical for you when it's time to think, or when it's time to do, and all that type of stuff. But yeah, that's really all I was really trying to talk about as far as this religion. I mean, there are so many different religions out today that they try to push with the mainstream stuff. But like I said, a lot of that stuff is within you. Whatever you think, whatever you believe in, it's within you. You don't have to deal with a book. You don't have to deal with just reading solely a book. It ain't you read the Bible and that's it. It don't work like that. When I went to church, or at times when I did go to church when I was little, I used to always fall asleep. Obviously I was missing out on something, and I'm glad that I was, because a lot of these people just believe what these pastors and all this stuff tell them, and that's just the end of it right there. If you're not a particular religion, they show more wickedness and hate towards you, but I don't know. And I'm not talking about all religious people. There are some good religious people. There are some wicked religious people. And most of these churches are collecting all of your money, and they're buying brand new cars with them, and they're living rich. And you have some churches around here who have very young, children and stuff of that nature, and they're sadly having a lot of fun with those kids. But that's really all I have to say about, talking about religion. I was just trying to give my views. This is all BV. Like, share, and subscribe if you feel like this was an interesting topic. But yeah, that's all I have. Peace.